Morning, everybody. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I've decided to come forth with some of the stuff that I know. I really want to get this out of my system, and then I want to move on to creating the world that I really desire. For about 30 years of my life, I was contacted by several different beings, multiple beings, and gifted information from those beings about what was taking place here on Earth, what was going to happen, where this was all coming from, and also in asking for the truth of myself, because that's what I did to begin with, that kick-started a lot of this information. I emptied my cup first. I just went, I don't know what's going on. I just have a gut feeling, a feeling within me that something's not quite right with what's going on this planet. I was then taken to different people who told me things, and I was like, well, really, are we sure about this? And taken to different indigenous ancient information that gave me even more insight into it. When I first heard what this was all about, honestly, I did not believe it at all. And I didn't want to believe it, honestly. I thought that it was the most ridiculous truth one could ever have thought up for a planet. But every time I emptied my cup again and asked for the truth, the same truth came back to me. And when I say visitations, I actually meant I saw them with my own eyes. I heard them, whatever they were trying to show me. Sometimes it was fleeting, sometimes it was full-on information, and always backed up the next few days with, or even the very next morning, with the same information from a different source. So it was like Spirit would tell me, would give me the information, and then I would be shown books or led to people, or within the next day, sometimes the next morning, I would literally wake up and see a Facebook first post with the same information of what I just either dreamt of or what they told me when they came and visited me. Not many, they didn't talk very much when they visited me. It was more of a telepathic communication, but I actually got to see them with my own eyes. So what I'm trying to say here is, long story short, I have known for literally decades what was coming, and quite a few of my friends as well. There's quite a few of us have known this for a very long time on Earth, and every time we come forth with that information, because it was so ludicrous to even understand or comprehend or even think of, we were shut down. So we were shut down many times of the truth that's happening. But now it's just too much. We're all starting to speak out, and we're all starting to come up with our truths. So this is what I was told eons ago. We as a race had well, I know that we came to a point in our evolution where we weren't growing anymore, and we were starting to self-destruct, starting to cause issues, starting to cause problems. The human race as a whole was so unique in itself because it had such diversities within itself, such opposites within itself. We had the logical left side of ourselves plus the imaginative creative side of ourselves. It had such a diversity within itself. Oneness wanted to figure out where this was going to go, see where this was going to go, the whole of ourselves in the respect of source, oneness, whatever, God, whatever you want to call it, divine, prime creator, whatever you want to call it, wanted to see what would happen at the end of the full evolution of humanity. So what happened was then the energy that was sent through to keep us under wraps was to lock us in to only a left hemisphere paradigm. So we were disconnected from our right hemisphere. We were disconnected from our intuitive, imaginative side. We were disconnected from our soul, and the only way that we could even grow was from looking outside ourselves in. We just didn't get the whole, we're coming from inside ourselves of our own divine reality outwards. This is now coming back to us now, but back then it was a slow progression, and the only way that could happen was for the severing of our intuitive, imaginative side, which left a vibration disharmony within the vortex of humanity's consciousness. And they told me that for that to happen, automatically a leadership outside of ourselves had to happen. So before that, we were all guiding our own divinity, our own right from within. We were all goddesses and gods within ourselves, creating, but we weren't bringing anything really substantial onto the planet. We were just creating our reality from an inside out, and then felt like we knew it all and played God and started to muck up the outside world. So to give us the lesson of the outside world, we were locked out from the inside world, from our inner being, from our inner hearts, our inner connection to soul itself. And in that, when that happened, a race came to Earth. There was a war above us, and the race that came to Earth was the reptilian anarchy agendas. So they won the war, and that gave them the right to take over humanity's consciousness, and in doing so, because they were conducive to that new energy of looking outside yourself to gain perspective. That is their job, to do that. And we had both breedings. We had the Lyran creative breeding within us, and we had the Anunnaki reptilian breeding within us. So, which was the logical side of ourselves. So it was kind of like their turn. Now, they came and they did an amazing job at locking us down. They used fear tactics, sacrifice methods. If you don't listen to us, you're going to be doomed. And because we were severed from that imaginative soul link to our higher perspective, we could only look outside ourselves for leadership, for gain, for right, for somebody to hold us all together. So leadership became the new thing, and they ended up ruling in their own right specific places on Earth. There was also other rulings that took place on Earth all over. It wasn't just them. We had, tribes that decided that the male figure of the tribe would be the leadership, that only the shaman could be the leadership, that they made all the rules, but it was always a masculine, logical, outside ourselves ruling. So we got to a certain point where we started to consume ourselves again, where this wasn't working either. And in doing that, and in that shift that's just taken place, and our cry for help of we've had enough of this. Now it is time for them to fall away. So anything in our reflection, anything outside ourselves that is of deception, that is not in conjunction with or isn't in line with us learning to connect back to our soul, our right hemisphere, our imagination, our intuition, anything that's blocking that is coming forward now as deception, because that has to fall. Humanity's place in now on earth, and where we're actually going, is to bring in that link to our soul again, but also to honor and respect what we've learned over the last thousands of years of what we've created outside ourselves, and what we can logically and bring to the table from our left brain, from everything, from building, architectural design work, paintings and all sorts of stuff, that everything outside ourselves can now be brought in is just as important. So we're now at the point where we're to bring the soul back in, but not to make another imbalance where we say that the masculine isn't important either. So we're bringing in the balance of feminine and masculine. Now, they also showed me that oneness in itself was just love, and it wanted to go on a journey. So it sort of divided itself into two, and that division was masculine, feminine, and that's what humanity is about. We are that last point, or that first point, depending where you're coming from, of the division of source energy itself. So when we unite this, we're like mini gods. We're like the creators of a new experience of where we're going. And when we do that, also all of the other breeds, all of the other aliens, all of the other species out in different planets that had a part to play within humanity, that knew of us, that worked with us, and this is why everything's like looking down on Earth at the moment. When they realize that we've now found a way to unify and accept both masculine and feminine sides of ourselves, so that we can work together in harmony within ourselves, they get freed as well, because they see the importance of their journey, of them, hybridizing us, like breeding with us, and all of their journey of the wars and everything that happened. They start to see the whole picture in themselves. So this is what this is really about. If we keep down the line, if we choose, and we always have choice, if we as an individual person choose to still not take the reins to our soul and say that we are the creators of our reality, and that we are divinely sovereign and need to take responsibility for everything that we think, as well as everything that we do, if we still want to play the game of hiding that power within ourselves and gifting it away to another, then that will be the reality that you have. You will end up being controlled even more, being taken under the wings of that power game. But even those that are doing that power game, even the reptilians that have really taken over the agenda, because pretty much the Anunnaki have come and visited me and told me that they realized the lesson that they had gone through, and that they are ready for our evolutional path to show them the way now. but the reptilians are still hanging on because they were the last leaders of us, and they have a plan to try to keep create their own divinity of being gods or lords over us. They know that the energy's shifted. They know that oneness has come involved. So they started creating the new world order. They knew it was all going to be one. They knew that they had to bring it all together because that's the energy that was being shifted. But it was more a oneness of us connecting to soul. And soul is oneness in itself. It is when we connect to that, we get all these informations, downloads. We start to see the truth. We see through the deceptions. We start having gifts coming back to us. We start to realize our power. We start to realize we're creating our reality, and only our imagination is our limit. And all of that sort of juicy, yummy stuff comes on board. But this is what I really wanted to say about what's going on at the moment. If you have any questions, just ask. But I needed to at least get this out, because the next step, and I feel like I'm in a chrysalis at the moment of recreating my own self, or recoming into my own authentic self. The next step for me would be, I'm going to be starting to create my own reality. So I will align my energies to uplift them into, and many others as well, not just me, into what my true authentic nature is. And then I will create more. So I needed to get it out so that I could at least move on, and then give you the gift of making the decision yourself. Do you want to go? Do you want to be somebody who's still been taken care of and led to where some other person's reality is going? Because that's what you're doing. You're actually telling yourself that you don't have the power, that you can't trust yourself, that you can't trust anyone outside yourself. So you need this authority figure to tell you what to do. Or do you want to take the reins of your responsibility for your own thoughts, of your own actions, of your own emotions, your own feelings, and connect back into that, and then take responsibility and move forward from there? Up to you. It's your game. It's your reality. It's your life. It's your decision. I know where I'm going. I know what's beyond that corner, because I've been shown the potential of where humanity can go. I've felt into the experiences of the dreams that I've been taken to, the blissfulness that happens when you're there. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm just telling you how I was and what I felt. It's a definite jump off the cliff. Like, I had this incredible experience and dream that felt real, where I was lying in the darkness and turned into all these trillions of dots, and I could see myself as just particles wavering in the air, and then I came back bit by bit to myself, and I looked over, and here's this beautiful white emanating light being standing on the edge of a cliff, and she looks at me, and I recognize her now as my higher self, as my soul connection. And she looks at me, and she just turns, and she just jumps without even looking over this cliff. And when I quickly crawl to the edge of the cliff to see what had happened to her, I saw her have these beautiful pink butterflies carrying her. She was carried, she was looked after, she was guided, she was transforming as well, but she was guided. And that's where I feel I'm going to go into with my next step and my next move. And I know that there's others as well doing this as well. So that's my story. Best of luck with your reality. I love you no matter what you choose. Because you are me and I am you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.